Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Inexperienced Podcast with me, Connor Gilmore. In this podcast, we will be talking all about starting uni, as well as our hopes and dreams for the future. So, without further ado, let's welcome our third guest, Chelsea Buxton. Chelsea Buxton, hello and welcome to the Inexperienced Podcast. How are you today? Good, are you excited? You don't really know what's going to happen today, do you? So you are going to be thrown in the deep end. Are you feeling a little bit inexperienced about the whole situation?
I guess so, yeah.
Although you are a little bit of a veteran when it comes to podcasts because you were the winner, spoiler alert, of my last podcast, Missions of Madness.
Course.
So again, well done for that. So hopefully you'll be equally as wonderful on today's podcast. But before we get in to our podcast, I do have to ask you a very, very important question. It is known as the most important question to ask someone who's planning on going to uni, and that is, name your poison. What is your drink of choice, Chelsea Buxton?
Oh, I'd probably say any type of gin. I love gin, but if I'm picking a certain one, Parma Violet gin.
Parma Violet gin?
Yes.
I've never ever tried Parma Violet gin.
It's really nice. A lot of people have it with tonic water, but with lemonade. Lovely.
Well, it is my birthday coming up soon, Chelsea, so I know what you can buy me.
I'm taking the hints.
Hint, hint. But today you are drinking a nice glass of water, which is not as exciting.
No, I'm driving.
Again, I apologise for not having any cordial in. I'm going to go and buy some after this, actually. But, uni. Are you excited for uni?
Yes, I'm really excited for it.
Now, you're a little bit different from the rest of the guests on our podcast. And will you just explain to us why that is?
Okay, so I've actually done 2 years of year 12 because in the first year I ended up picking chemistry, biology, maths and physics. Got to the end of the year, did my mock exams and came out with, I think it was 2 U's and an E. So not the greatest.
Oof.
But I decided to restart with different subjects because I had the effort, it just wasn't the right subject for me.
Nice.
So restarted and...
What do you do now?
Now I do psychology, biology and economics.
Okay, so you still do biology. Was that the
Yes.
one that you got the best in last year?
Yes, I did the best in biology and I found it the most interesting and the easiest out of the 3.
Okay. Well, it might change in year 13, but I've heard you've got one mock result back from this year.
Yes.
What was that in?
That was in psychology. I shouldn't have really been given it.
Oh,
but,
okay.
I've got an A in that one.
An A. Well done.
I'm looking on better track this year.
Nice. So you're looking forward to year 13.
Yes.
And
finally got there.
Yes. And the time is coming ever closer to deciding what uni you're going to go to. How are you feeling about the whole process of applying? Because it is a bit daunting.
I'm feeling pretty confident about it because I've had people around me who've already applied and told me what sort of things you need. So I feel as though I've got a good idea of what I need to do to get where I want to be.
Okay, nice. You sound quite positive. Yeah. I mean, school do a good job of helping us, but we are going to talk a little bit more about the whole process of applying to uni in today's podcast. But I would love to know what course you think you'll apply for, because in the past 2 years you've done quite a big mixture of subjects, so you must have quite a breadth of knowledge. So what is it that you wanted to go and study further?
Well, when I was in my first year, I did originally want to do medicine, but I decided
ambitious. Okay.
Yes, I decided I hated chemistry and despised it. So that was a no. So now I actually picked up psychology on a bit of a whim, and I've decided I absolutely love it, and I'd love to go to doing psychology at university.
Oh, nice. And what do you think that might bring you job-wise in the future from that?
Well, I'd love to be a primary school teacher and possibly go down the route of sort of helping children who have trouble at home, or a child psychologist, something along them lines.
Nice. That sounds like quite interesting work, actually. So I know you've not applied for unis yet because it's not that time, but when push comes to shove, what unis do you think you'll apply to?
Well, I had a look around some last year and I've narrowed it down to 3 different places. I've got University of Leeds, I've got University of York and York St John, University of Lincoln and Lincoln Bishop.
Okay, so Leeds, York, Lincoln as 3 cities, right?
Yes.
So different unis within that.
Yeah.
But I think we should put them all to the test. So I'm going to ask you some questions about all 3 cities, okay?
Okay.
First of all, what can you tell me that's good about Leeds?
Leeds, it's great for drinking.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's a great city to go around
I know
drinking.
you was that where you went for your birthday?
It was Logan's birthday.
Oh, Logan's birthday.
Yes.
All right. What did you do in Leeds for Logan's birthday?
Well, during the day we went shopping and got him some presents for his birthday, and then we went drinking at night and went for some food. And we also went to a really cool place called Junkyard Golf Club.
Oh, cool.
It was like this indoor golf place. It was all neon inside, and as you were going around the course, you could get cocktails and drinks and stuff.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It was really good there.
So there's plenty to do in Leeds, for students.
Yes.
Right, let's talk about York next. Yes. What can you tell me about York?
I really like the history in York because it does seem to have a lot of history behind it. So whenever I go down there on trips, I like looking at the cathedral. I like going down the Shambles area, going to the museums I have there. It's just a very different city, and I quite like a lot of history.
It's very cultural.
Yes.
I think I'd say there's loads to do, and it's got like the Theatre Royal there if you're into theatre like me.
Yes.
If you're one of those types. What else? There's like the walls, as you say, and there's plenty of museums.
Plenty of nice walls.
I tell you where I haven't been in years is the National Rail Museum, or
yes,
I think that's what it's called.
Yes,
it's the train museum.
Free to get in.
Is it?
Yes.
I want to go there. Maybe I'll go there before I start uni. But really, really love York as a city, and it's easy enough to get to. I know Leeds may be slightly easier because it's ever so slightly closer, but York on the train is like 20-30 minutes, isn't it?
It's not too far away.
The train station's right in the city centre, so it'll be easy to get to and from when you're visiting home. I guess, are you planning on staying in halls?
I think it sort of depends where I go. So, depend on how far away it is and also how much train tickets are as well per day.
All right,
so obviously York is more expensive to get to than Leeds, so I might possibly consider staying there.
Yeah, well, do you think commuting to Leeds is a possibility?
I think commuting to Leeds could be a possibility.
Because you do drive, don't you?
Yeah, I do drive, but I don't think I'd like to drive to Leeds because I've heard the roads there are terrible.
Oh,
it's all a one-way system, very confusing.
Ooh, fair enough. So we'll move on to Lincoln now.
Yes.
And I already know that our friend Callum and our friend Casper, who are both on the podcast also, they are thinking of going to Lincoln. So we have spoken a little bit about that, and we will speak a little bit more about that. But what can you tell me about Lincoln?
I've only visited Lincoln a few times. It's mainly been to go to the Christmas market.
All right,
the big one they have at the end of the year.
And
I just think the city is a really nice place. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got a good nightlife. It's got good shopping. The university there is actually quite small and central. So it's got a good location. And I just think that the sort of events that they have going off throughout the year as well.
Well, yeah, and talking of events at the Lincoln Students' Union, I know that it's supposedly one of the best students' union.
Yes.
Definitely in the north of England, if not all of England. And I was looking on Twitter yesterday, just scrolling normally, and 2 sets of DJing groups that are coming to Lincoln for freshers this year are Dick and Dom.
Yeah.
From our childhood. Obviously, they presented Dick and Dom in the Bungalow as well as other programmes. And also, the half of the Chuckle Brothers that is still alive, Paul Chuckle, is also coming on the same night during Freshers 2019. And they are apparently having a DJ off.
That's a shame for me then,
Well, a shame for you, but you never know. Like they do stuff like that every year. So, I mean, if Lincoln is where you end up, I'm sure you'll have a great nightlife.
Yes.
Yeah, so Lincoln, York and Leeds, all still in the balance.
Yes.
What, do we think there's one more than the other? Or do we still not know yet?
I think that I'm sort of leaning more towards Lincoln than anywhere else. So if I were going to put them in order, it'd probably be Lincoln, Leeds, York.
Nice. And I mean, Lincoln, you'll probably feel at home there because there will be a lot of people who go there because it is quite a popular uni for people from our sixth form, so hopefully you get in. I'm sure you will because you're doing very well now.
Yes.
Especially compared to last year. I don't know if you can say that.
We just don't mention last year.
We don't mention last year didn't happen.
We'll
but
cut
no,
that bit out.
I really do hope you get in, and I'm sure you will. But before we move on to talking about some top tips for applying to uni, we are going to play a little game.
Okay.
I am 100% getting copyright striked for that. However, what we're going to do is we're going to do a quiz all about university facts. Are you ready?
Yes.
Well, all that's left to say is, Chelsea Buxton, the chase is on! Basically, what we're going to do, I'm going to ask questions all about facts about students. It's going to be multiple choice, and you either say one answer or the other, okay?
Yep.
So, how many questions is there? There'll be 10 questions.
Okay.
First of all, question 1 is student power. How many students are there currently in higher education in the UK? Is it A, 2 million, or B, 3 million?
A?
A, 2 million? Is that your final answer?
Yes.
That is the correct answer. There are 2 million students currently in higher education, undergraduate or above, in the UK. This means that around 1 in 23 adults are students, which makes them a very powerful group of consumers. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, question 2. What is the most affordable city to live in as a student? Is it A, Edinburgh, or B, Cardiff?
I think it'd be B.
B, Cardiff?
Yes.
That is the correct answer. Cardiff is the most affordable city for students to live in, and that is according to NatWest Student Living Index, which compares average. I'll just stop reading off the article. Cardiff. So if you are going to Cardiff, I don't know anyone who is going to Cardiff.
I don't know.
Their student loan might go a little bit further. Now on to question 3, and this question is about international students, and the question is, what percentage of students in the UK, undergraduates, are international students? Is it 9%, that's A, or B, 14%?
I think it'd be 14%.
That is the correct answer. You're on a roll here, 3 in a row. 14% of undergraduates and 38% of postgraduates are international students in the UK. Question 4 is, what year did the UK see more full-time undergraduate applications than any other year in previous history? Was it 2012, that's A, or B, 2017?
I'm going to go for 2017.
Chelsea, you've already got 3 in a row. Now you've got 4 in a row. Are you sure you haven't seen these questions?
I'm sure.
Okay, so 4 in a row. Let's go for 5 in a row. You ready?
Yes.
Question 5. What is the most popular subject in the UK in terms of application numbers? Is it A, business studies, or B, computer science?
I'd probably say business.
Business?
Yeah.
You've got 5 in a row, Chelsea. That is the correct answer. The most popular subjects to study in the UK are medicine and business studies. They're on par with each other. So, yeah, 5 in a row. Let's keep going. I think, you might get 10 in a row. And if you do, I'll be seriously surprised. I'm going to have to think of a prize if you get 10 in a row. So the next one is, what percentage of international students are coming to the UK from China? This is going to be a tricky one.
Okay.
Is it 19% or 21%?
21%.
You think 21%?
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you that there are 90,000 Chinese students in the UK today.
Yeah.
Okay? They make up 21% of international students. All right?
Oh my God.
So you've got 6 in a row. Okay, let's keep moving. Question 7. Now, if you've been thinking about uni courses to apply for in the coming year, you'll know the answer to this. The question is, how much are uni fees for 1 year for a UK resident? Is it A, £9,250, or is it B, £9,260?
It's 250.
Correct. That's 7 in a row. What the hell? How are you doing this? Please get one wrong, because I don't.
You don't want to go.
I don't want to have to buy you a prize. Please don't get this one right. On to question 8. How many students in 2016 decided to stay at home and live with their family and commute to uni instead? Was it A, 428,000, or B, 328,000?
I think 328,000.
Please stop getting them right. It is 328,000 students last year decided to commute to uni rather than stay in halls or private housing. On to number 9. Which university has the most students? Is it A, Manchester University, or B, the Open University, which doesn't have a campus?
That's an online one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all done online. It runs a lot of things in partnership with the BBC, but it is its own independent university. So, is it Manchester University or the Open University with the most students?
I think it would be Manchester.
Yes! She's finally got one wrong! I'm so happy. It's the Open University. Manchester University has almost 40,000 students. This is as of 2016. Mm-hmm. And the Open University has slightly more than that. It doesn't actually say the exact number. But the largest student body is the University of London. And this comprises UCL, King's College and LSE, and has a total of 161,000 students as of 2016, which I thought was quite an interesting fact. On to question number 10. What percentage of students attending UK universities in 2016 were female? Is it A, 46.5%, or B, 56.5%? It's a very tricky one.
I think it'd probably be... I think it's B.
B, 56.5.
Yeah.
Do you think there's more girls than boys at university?
I think so.
Is that your final answer? Are you sure?
Yes.
That is the correct answer. As of 2016, 56.5% of students attending UK universities were female. And I have some interesting facts about other countries. For example, 73.9% of students from Bangladesh were male, while 70.1% of Finnish students were female. So there's a bit of gender imbalance within Europe. Finland's in Europe, innit? I don't know. I don't do geography. I know Bangladesh isn't before anyone pulls me up on that. I don't know. Let's move swiftly on. Okay, so you got 9 out of 10 on the quiz. I think I'm going to have to get you a prize from that, because that's chuffing brilliant.
I think we should make this into a competition.
I think we should.
Whoever gets the highest over all of them.
That is honestly a brilliant score. 9 out of 10. So what's your favourite fact that you've learnt there?
I'd probably say the fact about how many people stay at home, because I didn't realise it'd be as high as 328,000. I thought there'd be a lot less who actually commuted.
Does that number give you a little bit more confidence about maybe commuting to uni if you end up at Leeds?
Yeah, it does, because I've heard a lot of people, I've spoke to a lot, who've said that commuting can be quite difficult, time-consuming, and it doesn't give you the same uni life as staying there. But if there's that many people who are willing to do it, it can't be all bad.
Yeah, so I suppose that's a good point. However, before you actually end up at uni, wherever you end up, you do unfortunately have to go through the process of applying. And I've done it, and it's a long, boring process.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is try and come up with some tips for people who are about to start applying for uni, and they're going to be, half of them are going to be from you, who is about to apply, and half of them are going to be from me, someone who's got a little bit more of experience with applying for uni, right? So,
thanks for that little dig there.
do you have any off the top of your head that you can think of?
Yes. What I'd say is, when you're applying, I'd have a look round all of them. Even if you're not 100% sure, just go and look at the universities, because you might like the sound of one, but when you actually go and see it, you might change your opinion on it. So I went to see Sheffield last year, and I thought it's a really good university. A lot of people have said good things about it, but for me, it just wasn't my thing. I just really didn't like it. And I'd also say that a good idea would be to sort of make a bit of a document so you can sort of compare the unis from each other, so you can see what the entry requirements are. And I find that the most important thing is looking at the actual modules that you do.
Yeah.
Because a lot of different universities offer a lot of different modules, and there's some that specialise in children's education and sort of the younger years, where there's some universities that just don't offer any modules like that. So I think it's quite important to also look into the course details as well as looking at the actual uni and the city itself.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, I mean, you've spoken in terms of psychology, but it is the same for all courses. You can have 5 universities who do the same degree, but the actual modules in that can be totally different. So you can get a totally different course wherever you go. So that's the first one, is do your research and visit the universities. My second one is talk to the people at the universities. So you can go on the open days, as we've both been on before.
Yeah.
And you can talk to the lecturers and you can watch presentations and do this, but that'll only tell you a certain amount about the uni. What you have to do is talk to the current students, and then you get the real insight. Obviously, when you go there, there's students there, but they're always paid to be there. They always have to say it's nice, otherwise they'll get told off. So, like, you want to try and talk to real students, either when you're there or, like, find them on the internet and pop them a message. Like, I got a contact for Salford University when I applied there, and he gave me a little bit of an insight about the interview process, so I knew what sort of things I was going to be asked, so it made me more prepared for my interview. So yeah, I think that's a really good tip, personally, is to talk to real students and not just ambassadors. Talk to people, a range of people, so you get a really good picture of the course. Chelsea, do you want to do the next one?
Yeah, I'd say always have a backup. So when you're choosing, even if you're just choosing your different university courses, always have one course that's got slightly lower entry requirements. So although your heart might be set on a university such as Leeds, which has got 3 A's, always have one that's a little bit lower, so you've got the security of you're actually going to get into a university and do the course you want to do. But also have a backup in other options as well. So you might get to university and decide in the first few months you don't like it, so you've got to have a different sort of plan, whether that's sort of an apprenticeship or a different route into what you want to do. And even if you're not 100% sure that you want to go to university, still go through the UCAS application, because it's a lot easier to have it done and just take the application away or ignore it than it is to try and do it at a later date, because you have to go through so many different processes.
Yeah, and once you miss that deadline, it is gone. Like, I think it was maybe the 1st of February, something like that, this year.
Yeah, it was around end of January.
End of January, early February is the final point for applications. And if you apply after that point, there is no guarantee you'll get into any university.
Yeah,
There's no guarantee you'll even be accepted for clearing or anything like that. So definitely get your application in early. And if you've done your research into unis and get your application in, say, like October, November time, it shows the university that you're keen to go there. So already you're sort of giving them a positive first impression, to show that, you want to go to your university. And at the end of the day, the universities, they want your money. So they want you to look keen, and they want people who are going to show up and give them their $9,000 for 3 years, So that is a good tip. Always have a backup and apply, even if you think you won't end up there, because you never know. And you might think you'll really, really dislike somewhere and then go and visit it, and then it'll just feel right for you. And that's again, it links back to what we were saying about researching the unis before. When you do go and visit the uni, you know it's right for you when you go there just by being there. You get that feeling, it's the right place. So we've spoken about thinking about where we're going to apply. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about the actual application. So for writing your UCAS statement, what do you think are good tips for that, Chelsea?
I'd probably say just make sure you take your time with it and don't make any mistakes, because it's quite easy to just misclick something. So always double check what you've wrote, make sure you've put your information in right.
And always get someone else to proofread it.
Yeah.
And then after they've proofread it, get someone else to proofread it. And then after they've proofread it, get someone else to, you get the idea. Just get loads and loads and loads of people to read over it and give their opinion and add more of it, and talk to teachers especially, because they know what professors and what uni staff are looking for when they see an application. So take advice, but also, Chelsea, I think you've got another point.
Yeah, you should also be honest as well. So there's no point lying on it, because if you try and make yourself look better than you are, or even ask when you're applying as well, you have to put down your predicted grades, because obviously you don't know what grade you're going to get yet. So when you're putting your predicted grades down, be honest to yourself and what you think you can actually get. So if you've been getting D's the whole way through and you want to apply to university that's got 3 A's entry requirements, that's not being honest.
There's no point.
There's no
point applying to Cambridge when you're on 3 D's, is there? But no, I get what you mean. But you can embellish the truth, and that's not lie.
Just make things look better.
Make things look better. So I'm trying to think of an example I used on mine. So yeah, I've applied for television and radio production, and that's what I'm doing next year. And one of the things I spoke about on my application was working for Sky Sports, which I've done, I think 3 times, possibly 4. I've worked for Sky Sports at a live rugby match, right? So that's what I put in my application. What I didn't put was that all I had to do was stand still for 80 minutes holding one microphone, and I got paid 20 quid for it 3 times. But, stuff like that.
You just sort of
it shows that I've worked for a television company, but I've not told them that I hardly did anything. Although, a lot of the other stuff I did talk about, I did actually do.
Yeah.
But no, you have to be honest, and you also have to prove that you've done stuff, work experience-wise or extracurricular, that show that you really want to do that subject. Because if you think about it, when you're applying, the uni might get a couple of 100 applications of people with predicted grades, say AAA, right? And how the way they decipher who they're going to give the offer to say 20 out of 100 AAA predicted people is the amount of extracurricular stuff that you do. So go out there and try and get as much work experience as possible, and trying to show that you're really keen about that subject. Chelsea?
For example, I'm wanting to go into sort of child education, psychology sort of route. So anything that's extracurriculum or work experience is going to help. So I've had work experience in a primary school for a whole year, just going in on a Friday afternoons for an hour, but it's still there. And if you can get things like that, it just separates you from other people. I've also volunteered to help on a summer camp during the summer with kids. So that's also another thing that's going to separate me from other people, because I've sort of got the experience with younger children, and that's sort of the career path I want to go into. So when you're applying to university, remember to write down the extra things that you've done as well.
Yes, and what I think a lot of people forget about is the fact that you get references from school, right? So I also think it's very important to show your place within sixth form or within college, and make sure you make a good impression towards teachers and higher members of staff, and offer yourself as someone who will help out with various things within sixth form and do lots of different things, because at the end of the day, they're the people who are going to write your reference. And sometimes the reference which you don't write can be the thing that determines whether you get an offer or don't get an offer. So I think it's very important to try and please the people who are going to be writing your reference, to try and get nice things written about you.
Yes. If you can also get something that's specific to your subject as well that you wanted to study at university, that'll also help. So, for example, at our sixth form, we have student ambassadors. So if you're a student ambassador for a certain subject, you can help the younger years with it, and you're also a role model for that subject. So you'll give tours of the school, and that can also make yourself look better than other applicants because you've got something specialised in the subject you want to do.
And at the end of the day, it's something to talk about as well.
Yeah.
You know, like employers love it and universities love it when you can talk about that you've given something back to your subject rather than just done your subject. You've
taken
really
time out.
Yeah, you've shown that you've got a passion for that and you've shown a willingness to go out and do a little bit of extra work. We're going to talk a small bit about interviews, and I know a lot of courses do interviews, a lot of courses don't do interviews, but people think they can be quite scary or daunting. I know I was extremely nervous for mine because there was a lot riding on it. Can you think of any tips, Chelsea, about interviews? I know you haven't had any yet, but it's very possible that you will. So what do you think that'll be like?
Although I don't think my course will actually have any interviews within it, I think that it's also important to think about the obscure questions that they can ask you. So think about not only the obvious ones like why do you want to study this or what you're good at, think of the more out there ones such as what your weaknesses are or just things that you wouldn't expect.
So like in my interview, luckily as I said before, I got a little bit of an insight, but it wasn't a proper interview in the sense that it wasn't a one-to-one conversation. It was actually a group activity where we had to come up with an idea and then present it to other people. So you weren't testing our knowledge on the subject because they don't expect you to be an expert on the subject that you haven't studied for 3 years. They want you to show an eagerness and a sense of drive to do that subject. So the things that they were looking for at my interview was sort of communication skills, teamwork, and cooperation, and then like presentation skills. And I mean, a lot of people at my interview came dressed in jeans and a hoodie. And it was like, you could tell straight away, as soon as the staff saw them, you could see that they were making notes on them and like crossing the name out. No. So always dress smartly. Like, not all interviews are the most formal, but you've got to dress to impress, really. You've got to show that's what you want to do as a subject. You have to show that you care about the subject rather than just turning up and dossing about. Like, one person at my interview didn't even bring a pen, and we all knew we were going to have to write in this interview, and he didn't bring a pen, and they might as well have just kicked him out straight away. I know for a fact that this person did not get a place at the uni. And you know, even if you don't think you're going to get an interview, as Chelsea said, you need to prepare slightly because you never know how subscribed a particular course is going to be. You never know what your chances are of getting in or not. So, yeah, I think we've covered a lot of bases in terms of tips. I think we should do a tip review, okay?
So I'd say research the university you're going to and look into the modules because it'll give you a better idea of what your course actually involves.
Yes, and talk to the students as well, not just the student ambassadors who are paid to be there often, but talk to the real people and get a real insight into the course, as well obviously as speaking to the professors and see how passionate they are about their own subject.
You should always have a backup as well, so make sure you've got alternative options such as apprenticeships or college courses, anything like that, and even have a backup university with the lower entry requirements.
Yes, and when you do apply, make sure you are honest, but also showcase yourself because that's what the unis are looking for.
And make sure you're prepared. Even if you don't think you're going to have an interview, just prepare yourself just in case.
So, I think that's it. Chelsea, how you feeling after the past half an hour and a bit?
Tired?
Tired? Yeah, me also. Are you feeling a little bit less inexperienced when it comes to applying for uni?
Yeah, I think I am.
Good. That is what we're here for. So yeah, really grateful for you joining us today. Thank you very much. And as I've said before, no one leaves the Inexperienced Podcast empty-handed. So I have ordered a very special gift for you, as a thank you, but also for getting 9 out of 10 points on our quiz, and it's to do with where you're going to study. So your top 3, as you said, are Lincoln, Leeds and York.
Yes.
And they're all in the north of England.
Yes.
So it's always very wet. So this is what I've ordered for you. It's an umbrella that you can wear on your head. Okay?
Yes.
And you're going to take this to uni and you're going to look stylish and you're going to get so many friends because it looks so cool, all right?
Thanks.
Yeah, you sound very happy with that. So on that note, thanks a lot for joining me today. And thank you as well at home for listening. As I've said before, I am an inexperienced podcaster and I love feedback. So why not jump in the comments or message me on Instagram or whatever and let me know what you think, because I'm always trying to improve to make the podcast more interesting. Thanks a lot once again, and yeah, we'll hear from you in the next episode. Goodbye. The Inexperienced Podcast was first recorded in June and July of 2019. Find out more by searching for The Inexperienced Podcast on Instagram. The special guest for episode 3 was Chelsea Buxton, and it was a Connor Gilmore production.